sponsors and in the form of TOTB and MVPAC who help us as well in some ways. And I'd like to thank you guys all, and we'll surely see each other again in the track next season.
Absolutely, Philippe. Thank you very much for the display of racing tonight. You did fantastically well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Right then, I think we've got Harley also waiting an interview. Am I taking this one as well, Clyde?
I'll take it if you want.
Oh, go on then. I'll let you. Yeah, go on.
So, Harley, welcome to the booth.
Hello.
So we was just having a little chat before you came in here. Fantastic result for you and your team. Overall GT winners, winners of the GTAM as well. I presume you'll be expecting a promotion for next season up to pro.
Yeah, it was my first EJ race, so it just started me off in AM, but felt really good. So hopefully be driving pro next season.
Yeah, you guys seem to have phenomenal pace. We were just talking to Philippe from the L1 Esports team, and he was saying that he went away to have some lunch, and when he came back, you guys had shot to the top and were leaving people in their wake. But what do you put that down to? Have you just got the right drivers driving the right car, or have you guys hit upon a magic setup that seems to work at this track? What made you guys so good today?
Well, I think just consistency. We weren't, on one lap pace, we weren't the fastest really. It was just being consistent, keeping the laps in and not getting involved in trouble that was happening. So that's how we got to the.
Yeah, you guys seem to have a fairly clean race anyway. To be honest, there wasn't some of the chaos that we usually see in these races.
Yeah.
But you guys did manage to steer clear of anything that was going on, which always helps in these 6-hour races.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so obviously you'll be back with us for next season. Will you guys be in the GT again, or are you looking at moving up through the class?
Well, I definitely prefer the GT over the P2 and P1, so hopefully I'll be driving the Porsche.
Okay, and do you think the whole team are going to stay together? So you'll come back same drivers in the same team?
Yeah, we're a pretty close team, so just working together, we'll come back stronger next season.
Excellent. So before we let you go, Harley, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank Steen Ledger for managing the team, getting us all together, making sure we actually do the race, and my teammate Enar for the consistency and strategy all race.
Yeah, and congratulations to all of from all of us to you and your team for your win in the GT.
Thank you.
Okay, we don't seem to have anybody else that wants an interview, so let's just fill in for a second. Personally, I've witnessed a few of these endurance races in this championship, and some of them have been, I'm trying to think of a nice word to describe it, chaotic. Today, I know the smaller grid helped, but we had a few incidents, but nothing untoward that I could see. It was all fair and friendly and great racing. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I was surprised actually. I expected a brawl. Obviously, without the need to win in order to win any of the trophies, if you want to term it that way, it takes away some of the desperation. I think it reduced the size of the grid. And I think both of those two things in turn meant that there was less cars on the road, therefore there was less tension, because it's not a constant. You get some free track in order to either calm down or get back in your rhythm, or whatever it is that you need to do. There's been some excellent progress from certain teams, like Harley Horton, for instance. He moved 10, or that team rather, moved 10 places up from where they started. Phantom moved more than anyone else, so they moved up 13 places from where they started. And there was a lot of overtaking. It was all very above board, and there was a lot of gentlemanly, if you want to term it that way, getting out of the way, letting people pass because they're not in your race, etc., etc. And you're right. I did witness, to use your term, one of these races previously, which was the one where I was looking towards doing race control, which I'll still do at some point in the future. And there was a lot of crashes, and there was a lot of dubious moves. And you've got to say that this was a much more tame version of what I saw the last time.
Yeah, most definitely. Bill, you had the task of keeping watch over the P2 class, which had its fair share of excitement, even though there wasn't that many cars in it. I assume that you've enjoyed the race today.
I have to tell you, I really have to say I really enjoyed doing this enduro race. I'm not big multi-class kind of guy, but I have to tell you, it was kind of interesting. And by what I hear, you guys, apparently the races that had the full grids are a little bit, what should I say, out of control at times. But I have to say this was a very interesting competition. Two guys within 8 seconds of each other, especially in the top class after 6 hours. Good competition. Mine unfortunately got a little spread out, and but not taken away from any of the guys. I mean, German Sim Racing Purple, they ran flawlessly all day, and I don't care whether there's 10 cars out there or 100 cars out there. They did a great job, and all through the classes, really. I mean, I saw a lot of respect. We saw a few little incidents, but the guys that showed up today really want to race. I mean, whether there's anything involved or not, and they should be commended. They did a great job, and Sam put a hell of a series together. So I was glad I was part of it today, and would be looking forward to doing another one if I can.
Yeah, I must admit, when Sam said to me, our broadcaster has let us down. Is there any chance you could stand in? So yeah, I said, definitely. Spoke to you guys. You said we're in, and then the closer it got to the race, I started to think, why did I do that? But I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't as hard to commentate on as I thought it was going to be. I thought the racing was fantastic. Like you guys have said, it was respectful. It was just good racing all round, and right up until that last pit stop, the overall win could have gone to one of two cars. So yeah, I think that's really, really good. We've got race control waiting for an interview. So do we want to drag them all in at once, Sam, and get it all out of the way? They haven't really had a busy day today, so they can't have that much to say.
Yeah,
No, and you've got the faster half of Esia racing in there as well.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Let's grab them all. Elmar left, by the way. He's he's fearing us.
Drag them both in.
Oh,
he's
Elmar's back. Hey.
Hello,
Right,
guys.
guys, welcome to the booth. First of all, I'm just going to have a quick word with the fastest driver in Esia racing, Dom. Why weren't you out there doing that race on your own?
We can't. We can't do it on only one driver. It's in the rule book.
As Sam said earlier, if Dom was a real man, he would have done it all himself and then taken the disqualification on the chin.
Yeah, I heard him say that as well.
That's true.
I'm not surprised.
And Dan and Elmar, I've been in race control with you guys, and it's been absolutely mental. You guys had a bit of a day off today.
It was rather pleasant, actually. I may have nodded off on something.
It was very quiet. The race start was also very clean. Only one jump start from the LMP2 leader, but for the rest, it was a very clean race.
Yeah, and what do you think? What do we owe that to? Was it just the fact that it was a smaller grid, or was it because the championships were already decided, so there wasn't really anything on the line, or did we just have the right combination of drivers on the right track?
I think we had the right combination of drivers on the track. Most of these guys are very clean. They're racing. They know what they must do, when they need to wait, and when they can pass. So that's also a very nice factor to take in mind.
Yeah.
Anything for you, Daniel, to add to that?
No, I agree with it. I mean, you can see that they were still racing hard out there. I mean, you look at the P1 battle, and all the way through the field, they were pushing each other to the limit. But like you say, I don't know if it was a case of they were all on the watch because it was quite a tough track, but they were all alert to what the others were doing, faster cars, and they have respect for each other on the track at the end of the day, and that's all we were asking for the season.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to, isn't it? It's respect. It's as if all the drivers took a patient pill before the race, because we didn't see any of that. Or we did see a little bit, but not as much as usual. The dive bombing from a different postcode away and things like that. Even the P1s that people complain about were taking their time, overtaking in safe places. And from our point of view, the racing was fantastic.
I think it's also to take in mind that the track is also pretty good for multi-class racing. There are multiple corners that you can pass as an LMP1 on the GTE, and you can just come back into the corner like nothing has happened.
Don't you think also a lot of it has to do with the guys that showed up today? Nothing's at stake. They enjoy racing, and they were out here having a good time. And they, like one of you gentlemen mentioned before, they know what they're supposed to do, and they do it when they're supposed to. And can't ask for any better than that.
Exactly. I mean, it just looked like they were all there to enjoy them. So end of season, almost a party type atmosphere. There was no arguing. Like Clyde was saying, there's no dive bombing, nothing silly.
Exactly. They showed up because they wanted to, not because they had to.
Yeah, and even the incidents we did have, they weren't malicious. They were just mistimed, or just a miscommunication almost. There was, there were genuine accidents.
Exactly.
So the most important question of the night: what do you think of the broadcasting crew?
Pretty
Brilliant.
good, actually.
Yeah, absolutely
it was very
brilliant.
fun to watch. At the beginning of the race, you also had like a topic about the white lines.
Yeah.
I also found that interesting.
That is one of my pet hates.
It was a very nice addition to all of the commentating.
Well, our broad and sweeping opinions.
Yeah.
Must have been such a boring broadcast.
Total ridiculousness. Yeah.
It got us through the 6 hours. That's what matters.
Right, guys, let's put the spotlight on Sam now. So, Sam, end of season 2. Obviously, a lot of people have thanked you for, putting this series together. I know some of the grief that you've gone through this season. You've already planned a season 3. I know at one point, when you was extremely pissed off, there wasn't going to be a season 3. So looking back on season 2 and the ups and the downs, we've definitely finished on a high note.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very good race today. It's really pleasant to watch this, and I think I can talk for Dom and I on this. We really want to have this kind of races. Everything was pretty clean, and all the drivers respect each other. It was really great, and yeah, it was really good. And without your help, you Clyde and Daniel, Elmar, and Bill and Pete today for the broadcast, I think we will not be able to bring us season 3 in the future, because it's such a lot of work and only the two of us can't manage this. So yeah, we hope we will be back to racing next year. But yeah, it's really thank you for the help, guys, because it means a lot for us.
Yeah, I see on that. Thanks a lot to the EEC team and to the broadcasters today. It was really a good job from all of you.
Yeah, I think there's, as with any series, I know from the series that I run, there's a lot of unsung heroes in the background. I've done a bit of race control in this series, and I know what a ball ache that job can be. So, Daniel and Elmar, you guys do a fantastic job with that, and sometimes you get me to help out and wind you up as well. Sam and Dom, you do all the admin stuff in the background. I know now that Sam has automated most things because he's now doing it for me in my series, so can't be that much work that goes on. But you still have to deal with all the bitching and the complaining, that you do get from drivers in any series. So you guys need to be congratulated for what you've put on. I've just looked at next season's calendar, and it looks like we are back racing again on February the 9th. Are you planning anything in January, Sam, as a warm-up event, or will we just be straight back into it in February?
No,
Or
February.
is that the warm-up event?
It's
It's
the
the
warm-up
warm-up,
event.
yeah. It's the prologue race. It will not be 4 points. It will just be for get the teams bring together and the new teams to know the other one. We choose a tricky track, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, with the short arena of the GP track. It's to see if teams can handle harder track than usual, and yeah, we'll see if we can expect a better driving clarity, and we hope we'll have for next season.
Yeah, and you guys, you've just finished season 2, and I know from my experience, series get better. The longer they go, because you learn things and you change things and you tweak things, and you get drivers making suggestions, and some of them are you look at them and you think, please stop breathing. That's never going to happen. And then other ones you look at and you go, yeah, do you know what? I never thought of that. That would work. So, I think deep down there's a very good community behind this series. And the people that you've got in the background, with Sam and Dom running it, and Dan and Elmar doing race control, I think all the pieces are in place. For all of a sudden one of the seasons to be one of them, wow, that was absolutely brilliant for the whole season, and things just take off from there. So I'm going to have to go very shortly, so I'm just going to go around the room quickly before we close. And Bill, anything you'd like to say before we go?
Yeah, I'd like to say I've really been honored to be able to announce on this. felt a little green, felt a little lost, but it was a lot of fun. Never got to do a multi-class race before. It was pretty interesting. So I appreciate Sam and everybody else involved, and good to hear from you, Dom, again. And hope you're all doing well, and hope to come back someday.
Too true. And Pete, any last words from you?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed tonight. They are long races. It's a very long broadcast to do the full 6 hours, plus. Being introduced to the new drivers, to the multi-class environment from a broadcasting perspective. Very interesting, very enjoyable. Be interesting to see what it would be like with all the crashes and protests attached to it. I think Sam and Dom have done a spectacular job with this league. If this is only the second season, it feels very developed, if that makes sense. And to the people that like invest their time for doing things like race control, those people earn a lot of respect from me. They're not being the ones that are racing; they're dealing with what they see on the screen, and they should be respected for that. They're not always. They take a lot of crap from the field, and that shouldn't happen. But hopefully that'll, like you say, Clyde, disappear with time. You can only hope. But yeah, I hope to tune in again for the next season. It's been really good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and just obviously just to touch on that race control thing again, we said at the start of the broadcast, these guys give up their time for nothing. Nobody gets paid. So, they do a fantastic job. I'm sure there's multiple other things they could have been doing for 6 hours on a Sunday afternoon, like, I don't know, ironing or something, extreme ironing on top of a mountain. But no, they gave up their time and they're in here making sure everything runs smoothly. One thing you did forget to mention, Pete, is obviously the most fun part of doing this was pronouncing the names.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, and avoiding the story Bathurst 50, unless you filled that in while I wasn't online.
That would be telling, wouldn't it?
I don't think anything came up about that, Pete.
So Dan, race control. Any last words from you before we?
I want to thank you guys, obviously, for a brilliant broadcast. It's been entertaining to listen to say the least. And to Sam and Dom for organising the championship. And all the teams and drivers, actually, deserve a shout out for sticking with us through the tough times, because it's not all been easy. But I'd like to thank them for their patience while we got everything sorted, and for the fantastic racing we get to watch.
Yeah, I second that. The drivers and the teams, they do need congratulating. The ones that have stuck with it till the end. I always say in our series that we are not a series without drivers, because all we would do is put races on and nobody would turn up. So yeah, you can't do it without the drivers. Elmar, any last words from you?
Yeah, I like the season. There was a little bit of some problems, but every league has their ups and downs. I get respect what Sam and Dom are putting in this league. They're putting in a lot of free time. And yeah, I like the broadcast today. It was a very nice broadcast. Thank you for everyone that made this broadcast possible. And I think it was a great season. I hope next season will be much better than this season, actually.
I'm sure it will be. Dom, before we go, as Sam keeps telling us that you're his number 2, but we all know that you're faster than him. So, any last words from you?
No, he's still faster than me. Maybe not at Interlagos, but we were not there, so it's for another time. But as everyone, I want to thank all of you and all of the drivers as well. Without them, we would not be there. And we hope to have a season 3 as good as this race. I think it would be great.
Excellent. So, final words from Sam. We have to let him talk sometimes because it is his league. We do keep him quiet whenever possible. But Sam, it's time for you to shed a tear. End of the season. And I was going to say start working towards next season, but you've got far too much work to do for me at the moment to even think about the Esia League. So, any last words from you, Sam?
Yeah, thank you guys, all of you, all of the drivers, support us, give us some advice, some feedbacks on how things are going on and how we could improve. I think we did a lot this season with all the feedbacks. We update the rules, we update the way we manage race control, and everything went way better than it was in the first races in season 1. It was very a great job from everyone in the league. All the good feedbacks we had, and when I say good, it's not only the positive feedbacks, but also the feedback to tell us what's wrong and how we could improve things. We had a lot of these. Some of the drivers who left think we are not listening, but we are. And yeah, like Dom said, I hope we'll have a season 3 looking as good as this race, even much better, if we can. And yeah, I want to thank all the drivers who make this possible, and I hope to raise them next year. And thank you, all of you.
Yeah, and I'll second that. We'll let Sam stop there because he's obviously welling up. So just leaves me to close the broadcast off. So I'd first of all like to thank everybody for sticking with us. We had some non-drivers watching the broadcast in the chat. Laugh and a giggle. Big thanks to the drivers and the teams for making the series what it is. Thanks to the guys in race control for their unsung hero work in the background. And obviously thanks to Dom and Sam for creating and running the series. For those of you that are still listening or watching this back at a later date, get on Discord, thank the guys. They do a hell of a job. They get a lot of grief. So, if you've enjoyed this season and you're looking forward to next season, get on Discord and, show some appreciation. We will be back with you next year. That sounds a long, long time away, but it's not that far away. With the opening race, which won't be a championship race, from the Nordschleife on February the 9th. So I'm sure between now and then, Sam will sort out what he's doing with the broadcasting, and we'll be able to welcome you all back with open arms and have some good, clean, fun endurance racing again. So thanks to Bill and Pete for helping me out in the booth today, and Sam for doing the magic in the background. And I'd just like to say on behalf of everybody, well done and good night.